Welcome everybody to our workshop Diversity and Transformation. It is part of the Career Camp 2026 week, where we will take part in a lot of events and workshops. Our company is taking part for third year, and we are very happy that we get in touch with students, also international students. Our workshop would be in English, and I hope that you can get really good insights from our tax industry.
Welcome everybody. It's very nice that you choose this topic because I think it has been always important, but a lot of companies are speaking about this topic, diversity and transformation. And my name is Maria, this is my colleague Juliane, and today we want to take you on a journey into the future of the tax industry. And you do not really need a tax knowledge for today. We will guide you step by step through our journey, and I hope that we would have a good interaction. So if you have any questions or any statement you want to add, just yes, say okay, I'm there, and it would be nice if we have a good conversation about that. We just want to show you that the tax industry is not a boring one. It is very modern, it is very digital, and it goes to a very quick steps of transformation in the last years. Before we start, we want to get some feeling about your experience and your expectations. So today we'll show you insights into the tax industry and also into our own digital or our own transformation project, what we are just executing now. And to make it more interactive, we will use Mentimeter. I hope you have logged in, so please scan. And let's start with a quick warm-up with the question if you have any experience or if you used AI before, Microsoft 365, and if you worked in the tax industry, if you have any experience. Okay, nice. So you will see that the usage of AI is absolutely 100%. I think everybody from us has touch points to AI. We decided to use Microsoft 365 just because a lot of us has already touch points to Teams or whatever. And in the tax industry, it would be interesting at the end of the workshop, what would you say if you have learned something about transformation and our work, our challenges? We'll see. So, why we are here? Today it is not about tax law. It is actually about the future of work, because we want to use our tax business, explain you what are the challenges in companies today, but actually it is a topic with this topic a lot of companies are getting in troubles now, because a lot of things are changing and also the way how we are working is changing. We want to show you how modern tax firms could be, and that actually digital skills really matter today. We want to show you how transformation happens, and this is not a question about one decision. This is a very long-term process, and we would show you how our company is addressing this transformation today. But before that, I would like to introduce myself, or just tell you some points about the history of our company. I graduated in a foreign language school in Bulgaria, and I started to study here in the School of Applied Sciences in Bremen with 19. And after I finished my bachelor in business administration, I started my career in a middle-sized audit company in Bremen. And with the time I worked there several years, I just realized that my career chances to get a junior or senior partnership are very low. Of course, you cannot compare the times now and how world have changed through Corona times with the professional life 10 or 15 years before. Especially as a young woman, when I get my child, I just realized that my chances are very low to progress in my professional life there. So at 28, I just passed my tax advisor exam and decided to go on own different path. I founded my own company in 2017, and the first praxis what I took over, I bought a small business, were in 2019. And over the next 6 years, 3 more practices were added to our business. I didn't really plan to found a company with a focus on diversity or new work. I just wanted to manage on my own principles and principles of young mother, a foreign young mother in Germany coming into a very male-dominated business was really a challenge. So over the time, I just realized that I really do a lot of things differently in comparison to the very classic tax business. And before we go really deeper what I did differently, let's first try to define this word diversity. What is really the definition of this word? So if you can just help.
Yeah, I would like to ask you that you answer what is diversity for you personally in Menti again. And you can just write a short sentences or add a few words. What would you say, what means diversity for you?
Maybe you can read, because I'm not sure if behind them.
So I would like to read some of your answers. Different perspectives, different cultures and practices, giving all genders, ethnic groups, professions, etc. equal chances in your company, inclusion of people from different backgrounds, different cultures, genders, variety, having people from different groups, cultures in the team.
Actually, very good and very detailed definition, I would say.
And a very good definition of all aspects that we thought when we thought about making our onboarding project, where we will lead to later. And now, or if someone's still writing, when not, I will change to the next question, because we would like to ask you, what do you think, why need companies a whole department dedicated to diversity?
This is actually a very interesting question. If it's maybe just a question of having a strategy to acquire young professionals and to say I'm diverse, and what does this really mean?
So we have to listen day-to-day problems of employees from different backgrounds, never-ending organization-wide struggle, different sources of knowledge and skill sets, security and satisfaction for the employer, to make sure diversity is lived in each part of the company. Description, inclusivity, valued entertainment, role models, strategic, inclusive talent, young, able to get multiple perspective, and it is important to promote it and to make people feel acceptance. So it's a lot of things that come together, because it is important that we have that we give people the opportunity to be diverse and themselves in the company, but it's also a very difficult topic because there are a lot of factors that have to be considered for the company itself, for the employers, how to work together and how to give everyone the best opportunity from their own starting point. And that is where we want to start now, because we have a very matching quote that we would like to tell you, and from Einstein, and it says, "We must not only learn to tolerate our differences, we must welcome them as the richness and diversity which can lead to true intelligence." And I think it really matches to what you've said recently. And this shows as well that diversity is not only a human factor, but also a real business factor. This has to be considered, especially in industry that needs transformation. So we have a codependency between diversity and transformation itself. So transformation needs those different perspectives, cultures, generation, learning styles, digital skills and experiences. So we don't have only a social value, but an innovation driver through diversity. And to get a bit deeper into the topic, I would like to introduce you to three characters that we think can be seen in a lot of companies. So firstly, to start with, we have our experienced expert, 62 years old, has worked 13 years in the company, so she has a really strong long-term client relationship and strong theoretical base. But on the other hand, she has low digital confidence. She struggles with working with Excel, which is one of our main tools in the tax industry or in our business. And but she tries to follow the instructions clearly. Then we have our young digital talent, recently graduated from university, provides strong economic knowledge and good software understanding, so she can provide guidance through the use of digital tools or solves technical issues within the team or with clients. And on the other hand, we have our foreign professional, a middle-aged man who left his homeland recently. He has good fundamental knowledge because he has worked in the foreign tax authorities. And but there's the language barrier, so he needs guidance with the German bureaucracy because all tax systems vary a lot, and in German we have a lot of different laws that have to be considered. And when we have those three different people, we can say that we have a lot of different starting points that have to be considered in the company. We have a lot of diversity in the team only when we look at those three different characters. And that shows that also the team requires some type of transformation itself, because we have this diversity in our team. But when we think of it, it means that we don't only need technical transformation or diversity in the team, but also we have a codependency with our clients. So when we have a diverse team, we also need diverse clients in the company, because in the tax industry it's like we have some older clients, they want personal contact, a one-on-one contact, they want that we answer very quickly, and that sometimes can be difficult for younger employees because they are not so used to the long time experiences like our experienced expert. But when we have a startup that wants to be consulted by us, they want international workflows, they want more digitalization, they want automatization, and that is on the other hand difficult for our experienced expert because there is not so much technical knowledge. So and when we have foreign entrepreneurs, they need guidance through the German bureaucracy. And it is sometimes difficult as well when we have like our foreign employee. So we don't And so we have diversity in the team, we have transformation for the team, we have diversity in our client base. So we have a lot of diversity from different point of views, and also transformation that needs to fit everything. And that is something that we now recently have to consider.
Yes, think about that. If you just buy a business, you are taking over the clients. So you are not choosing them, telling them, I have these requirements, you have to chat with us on a client portal, and we want to have everything perfect in a portal, loaded. Best way would be PDF or e-invoice. No, they are just, they worked to 20, 30 years on paper way, and you have to convince them to transform. So the challenge is not only within the company deciding to take over the older professionals into the team, it's also a transformation in the relationship to your clients. And if you buy a business, you are not saying, okay, you don't want, just leave. You want to take these clients, to hold these clients, and make, hopefully, the relationship a relationship which brings you a good value, which brings you a good profit. So before we take a deeper look in a tax firm, we want to give you a quick insight in the challenges of a transformation. And let us just think about this fact that you know already there are a lot of software, for example, which are offering the service that you can prepare your tax return alone for, I don't know, 20 years abo per year. So our business is a very, how I can say, you need a really good experience and knowledge about tax rules, about economic relationships, about a lot of law facts, what you need to read and understand contracts. So we are getting into a really price pressure, because the young clients are expecting that you offer them a perfect cheap service like bookkeeping or payroll services. And on the other side, we have the problem that experienced staff is missing on the market. And think about our generation boomer who would just leave in the next years completely the working area. And so this is also one challenge. And one more challenge is that young professionals has like barriers to start in our business, because it's getting more and more complex. We have to think about the, let's say, DAC 6 directive, about restructuring of company groups, or let's think about the new AI Act. Let's think about a lot of regulations has been added to our responsibility, just because our profession for tax advisors or auditors, also it's very similar, is already very regulated, and there is a public trust in our profession. So that's why young professionals are really like have this barrier to start, because there is a lot of to consider. And on the same time, we are like a half IT specialist, because we have to work with interfaces, we have to understand different kind of softwares, we have to guide the client maybe to introduce a new system or software in his own business. So the complexity of our work increased with the time. So what do you think hearing that? Let's ask you what are the main tasks in our job of a tax advisor? If you have a look on our list. So I would read that: prepare a tax return, create annual financial statements, develop marketing campaigns for clients, manage payroll and salaries, optimize financial processes and workflows, provide legal representation in court, advise clients on business decisions, communicate with tax authorities, support clients during tax audits, and help with succession and inheritance planning. Actually, you pointed all the points, what I find really surprising. Because thinking about that, we thought that developing marketing campaigns with clients, it's not really part of our business. But maybe with the time. For sure, we have some economic understanding to say if that could be successful. And provide legal representation in court is also not right so far. We are not lawyers, and there is a very strict separation between the profession of the lawyers and our profession. What we can do is we can support clients or represent client in the financial court, but this is the only one court type where we can support. For all other law matters, he needs a lawyer. And there are a lot of tax advisors who are also lawyers, so they can cover all these topics. Nice.
I think this is also not the part. Manage payroll and salaries.
Manage
payroll and salaries.
Manage payroll and salaries is also part of our job. Of course, it is not the part that we write contracts, employee contracts, but all the stuff through incentives. If somebody has to, employee should get a company car, how is it taxed, how we can get this topic into the payroll, all of this covers actually our job. Yeah. So I displayed that the industry faces actually really massive challenges. So the shortage of the skills of the people, especially the older one, is really big. There is a problem of transformation, the knowledge of older generations into the new generations. I just display here statistics from 2024 of our tax business. And what I would like to point out is that the average age of the tax advisors, all tax advisors in Germany, is 53 years. So it is very probably also connected with the fact that you cannot write the tax advisor exam after you finish your study, because for a main requirement is that you have particular years of experience. So 53 years old, and 30% are over 60 years. Then let's point out the fact that almost 70% of the tax advisor companies are single enterprises. This means one tax advisor, maybe he has some employees, but even, I'm not sure if I displayed that, the most of them have between 5 and 10 employees. So almost 70% of our market is covered by single enterprises with a few employees. And what we see in our market is that there is a very big difference, because we have on the one page we have the big corporations, you know, the big four like KPMG and PwC with 100,000, I don't know how much employees all over the world. And at the same time we have these small companies, and all of them have to deal with the same business challenges what we have in the tax industry. We have a relatively high percentage of women. You can see there. Why? Because this job is allowing us to work on a very flexible way. And this is, I think, a main point where especially women are thinking about starting their careers, how I can work and earn good money after I have children. Yes, I think, and maybe one more fact is that a lot of the companies what we have on the market are founded in the last 10 years. You see, 52% are founded in the last 10 years, so they are very young companies. Okay. So the public image of the tax advisor is actually in the last years that he's the man or the woman who is taking care on tax filings and declarations. And this is actually the vision what we, the young professionals, are trying to change, because the clients have to understand that all the knowledge and the professional experience what we have, law background, economic background, all the knowledge about tax rules, restructuring businesses, succession, this is a full range of experience what he can participate from. And we want to be not the tax filing specialist, we actually want to be a co-CFO of the client. We want to be really a sparring partner of the client and helping him expanding his business or whatever. What is the current reality? We displayed only a few facts, and this is really what you can find also in our company. Why? Because over the years we took over businesses, and if you took over a business, you are not changing everything from day one. So the challenges and the current reality is that we are working, for example, on a local drive. Yes, the young people can even not imagine how you can work not in the cloud. Actually, it is a cloud version, ASP server, but it is a server, a machine, I don't know, in Frankfurt, where our data is, and it is placed and saved on a local drive. Also, we have, of course, we are using a client portal. It is a cloud portal where clients can load their documents, etc. But it is used inconsistently. So we have 80 years old clients which even do not have really online banking. And how you can get these people using a digital portal for the services. We do not have a version control. So of course we have every backups from our data, but version controls is not implemented now in our company. Then we have a lot of email communication. So hundreds of emails are coming into our inbox, and we have really different difficulties to have the right overview, because we are supporting over 400 clients in our small company for our internal knowledge base. Because if I can save everything on one place or on SharePoint, the Copilot would have access to this data. And this is our strategy, what we think that it could be the most simplest way to get in touch with this technical part and not having to use a lot of external services. But this means that a lot of us has to get a lot of technical knowledge about how we deal with some stuff. And Juliana is going to show you all this after that.
Because before that, I want to show you like a short case study. It's our financial statement process. So when we have like a company and we have to make our an annual financial statement, it would be most common that we make the bookkeeping for the company. So we would have like the data of the whole year itself in our accounting software. But we also need, we always need additional information like documents from policies or something like that. And right now it is that we ask the client to provide us this information via email. Then the client has to look at the email, put all the documents together and send it back to us. Then one of our employees checks if everything is together and then gives us an information via email. Then we could start with the process. And we would all save these documents in folders of the local drive. And when we have all the information together and start with the process, we would work in our accounting software and as well in Excel. Then we would start with all the calculations, put all the informations together in the document. But when I would make the process and I have questions, I would have to write Maria an email, or I would talk with her about it, or I would have to make an appointment when we could talk about this stuff. And or when I need information from the client, I would have to call him, I would have to write emails, I would have to use the client portal, or I would have to ask somebody else if they have the information. So we have a lot of different pools where we could get our information from, and a lot of information that can be lost in the process because we have no documentation of itself, because we work in Excel. And then I have to ask, I have to see which can provide information that I need. And it is sometimes really difficult because in our company it is not so that only one person talks and works with the client, but it's like we have someone that makes the bookkeeping, someone that makes the salaries, then someone that is there for the annual financial statement, then maybe the person is there for the income tax as well. So it can be like that 4 of us are working with only one company. And then it can be like when Maria talks with them about a topic that I don't get the information because we have no documentation of it, when they have a personal meeting or a call, and then I would have to ask the client again, and maybe they say, you have the information already. Then we have to look, where is the information? So it is a bit difficult sometimes to work within this process. And when we finish everything, we would store it again on the local drive and send an email to the client, and we would have a personal meeting with them to discuss everything, how it worked, and if they have questions. And this would be our process. So it is not that we use many tools within this process, mostly Excel and our accounting software, but there are a lot of steps where we can have like human error or technical issues, a lot of information that can be lost or that goes through a lot of different people, and that is what makes it difficult for us to get a good process that flows within itself. And so I would like to ask you again, after we talked about Microsoft and about the process, what you think can be helpful when we would use Microsoft for the solving of our problems. So when we would need audit proof and secure document storage, what would you think, which tool would be relevant for this one?
Please.
Have you ever considered maybe a wiki-based architecture? Because currently it seems like you're pushing something made for creating documents to its limit in knowledge processing. So for example, you said that a lot of the time the information gets lost, you can't track who recorded what, or you can't track who has to do what. So have you ever tried a wiki-based architecture instead, where you can tag stuff and you can link stuff, and that would also release you from Microsoft's iron grip?
This is exactly what we just present. For the process documentation, we would like to use OneNote. So it is the application what is exactly created for this kind of purposes. And the second stuff where the knowledge would be collected would be the different client sites. So I don't know if you are aware, but in SharePoint you can create different sites. It's like a website. So each of our client would have a personal site, and on this site we would collect all the information which is somehow connected with this client. Yes, please.
I have an unsolicited suggestion. Maybe you should look into Obsidian. It's
Obsidian.
Obsidian.
Okay.
Since you already have a server, it's a wiki processor sort of, but its primary use is a note taker. So you can tag stuff, you can plan things, and it's completely readable from everything else because it stores all its files as plain text and such, and they're easily processable, so you'll be able to use more AI models. You won't be locked to Copilot. You would be able to track who has to do what. You would have dynamic links. You would have more control over your knowledge, just in general.
Yeah, let's proceed with what we think about, and I'm sure that there would be a lot of options what company can choose for its solution, how the transformation could be processed. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would like to add something.
Yeah, please.
Because we also thought about using Microsoft because it's very similar to the applications that we're using right now. Because we use Excel, and it's the main part, and like we can structure SharePoint equally to the local drive, and we have to consider that when we change the whole working process, like you considered, we have staff that we have to take with us. We have employees that we have a range from people that are 22 to people that are 65. And when we talked about we want to change our whole process, it was really challenging when we only said we are going in the cloud. And when we would change the whole system, we would have to start from zero again. Like I understand you, we understand there are different tools that we can use, and we have, when we would implement only Microsoft, that we have a very high dependency on the tools itself. But we also have to consider that we have a diverse employees, and we have all to take them with us. And we are a small company, so I will introduce you to our onboarding project a few files later. But we have like now considered 18 months, like 1.5 years. We have 3 of us, especially us who are working 1 day each week only on this project. And it's like a 20% loss of our work where we can work with the clients. And it's a
big investment.
It's a really big investment of our time, and we have to consider which person has when time to make time for the project, which tools can be used, and which tools can be used that aren't changing the whole way of our working right now. Because like we had a talk recently about the communication, because the accounting software will change the communication tool. And they said to us, yeah, maybe we can change our whole structure from the system again. But then we would have to start from zero. We would have a phase where we would have to take the employees with us, where we have to take the clients with us. Because like we said, it was through the 4 acquisitions that Maria made difficult to take the diverse client base with us. We would have to say them. We changed the whole working process, so it's a lot of more to consider, and we thought it would be the best with the,
very similar, and we partially used a lot of this applications already, like Teams, for example. And now if I say, you have to do just a Teams meeting for every single client conversation, or please do not call with your smartphone, with our company phone, just call through Teams, because Teams has also the option for Teams call, so you can just have a normal number through the telecom. And this is not a big change for the employee. So this was also a very a main consideration what we had in thinking about how we can solve this. So you see that for the storage, I think it's pretty clear that SharePoint is the main place where the main storage should be done. And of course, we have a lot of data what is storage in our accounting software. And this is also a challenge how we can provide an interface what is allowing us to get some data from the accounting system to the Microsoft world to be able to interact more with this
discussion.
Data.
I have 5 more questions in Menti, which tool we would use. So you could scan again the QR code so that we would go through with these questions.
So structured and accessible process documentation. Okay, maybe somebody can tell us why planner? Somebody who answered planner?
Because it sounds like a planning app.
Exactly, it's a planning app where you actually execute one process. So if you want to have a standard documentation for your financial statement preparation process, then you need like a handbook where you write down your process. Of course, processes could be also displayed with Visio. You know this application, maybe just like a visual display of process. But actually, OneNote is the main documentation handbook what is used in the Microsoft area for these purposes.
Kann ich weitermachen?
Ja.
So the next one would be communication is unstructured and spreads across emails. Which tool could we use to improve the process? Yeah, and here as you nearly all choose, it is Teams, like I said before, because we have the options of channels and chats, and also to link between different sites. So when we make a team channel, we could also connect the SharePoint site within Teams so that we could use it as a hub itself. So then we have processes are created manually and prone to errors. Which tool could help us here? Yeah, it is Power Automate, like I said before, and I will give you a short example after it what we are planning to create with Power Automate. And then we have information for new projects is exchanged in an unstructured way. These are like we thought about a loop in this question, because there we have the possibility to work within with more than only one employee, and we could like add folders or something in the conversation itself. But you are also correct that SharePoint is a tool where we could structure our projects, or with Planner when we use the workflows, but mainly it would be a loop in this example. And I think maybe the last one is we need clear task management and standardized workflows. Yeah, and here we have Planner, like I said before, that we want there to create our workflows. And that is for later. So just a quick conclusion, SharePoint and Power Automate would be our tools to create new projects and client sites, and to automatize the part of the process. Then we would use our accounting software as the tax engine itself, and additional to that, the accounting portal for our client communication. Loop would be our structured internal communication, additionally with Planner, where we have the overview of our tasks, and Excel would be used in the cloud simultaneously by multiple people. Diversity in KMU means it is our current project that we are making right now since the previous month, and I would like to introduce our onboarding project. So our main target is to create a digital knowledge platform where we have standardized processes, equal opportunities for the employees that are at the moment in our firm and that will come in the future to us. And we want to have a self-learning organization. So one of our main problems in the onboarding process is that we have limited time to onboard a new employee. So when someone comes in our firm, we want to give them the best start that they can have, but they have to get the information about how we work with the software, how we work with the processes, where they have to find all the information. So it is a very huge process itself, and we want to structure it in a very better way, and also that the new employee has the possibility to make a to have the opportunity for self-learning of the terms in the organization. And we want to provide a platform where we have a knowledge flow between the different generations in the company. Like I said before, we have people from the age of 22 to 65, so we have a lot of different technical knowledge and tax knowledge in the firm itself. And so we have in the onboarding project 6 different blocks. We are currently in the first one, in the analysis. So we are right now trying to put all the information together which have we gathered in our firm. So which processes are existing already, which should we eliminate, because we have to look at which process is useful, which could be improved, or which is not helpful anymore. And we are of course testing the Microsoft Word, how we could implement it for our project. And at the end of this first block, we want to have a first draft of the knowledge platform. After this, we have to make a good structure and to structure the content itself. So we will have to think about the technical specifications. We have to make the content development, because we want to make a process documentation, but we want also to create videos itself so that we can show how it should be worked in the platform, in the accounting software. Then we have to assign the responsibilities, because we are right now working with 3 people in the project, but there will be more involved in the future. So we have to say who is for which part responsible. And then we want to start with the creation of the platform. So first we want to to implement the administrative and technical processes, because we want to make a process of how we work, so the corporate values and the culture itself, then which technical equipment should be used and which are the requirements in the firms, and communication with the authorities, because as a tax firm we have a lot of contact with the tax authorities, and it sometimes is a bit difficult to exchange the information, and this should also be part of the process. And after that we have a very huge block. This is this one where we have to create the text content itself. So we have to think about which information should be provided about the accounting, about the income tax, about the annual financial statements and the wages. So it will be a really huge part, because we have the difficulty to collect all the knowledge that is within the person itself and within the employees, and then to put it all together in a process that is understandable for all new employees. And after that, of course, we have a training, so we have to plan and train the employees that are currently working in the company, because like I said before, we have to take them all with us. We have to say now we want to start there, because it would be very difficult to work in two different systems at the same time. So there will be a point where we say, from this point now we work in SharePoint and it is not allowed to work on the local drive. And this has to be really good planned and communicated within the team. And we would like to create initial knowledge tests. So when there will be a new employee and he or she should start with the self-employment, that she could there could be a check in the system or in the knowledge platform itself. So like you can say, I have checked the first, like the corporate values and culture, and at the end you can make a short test if you have understand everything, if you gathered all the information together. And of course we will have to test our processes and the knowledge platform itself, and maybe to refine it at the end, so that we can say after 18 months we now have a solution which we are happy.
May I add something? For this project we get a subvention from the European Fonds, because as I said, a big part of our capacity is going into this project. So as a small firm, it is really a big investment. So this subvention is also allowing us to be very strict in our proceeding, because a lot of companies are planning and they want and they just check and they cannot find time to execute and to plan, or they cannot find time to take the whole team into this. So they have good processes, but nobody is processing them. And this is exactly what we want to avoid. We really to be very strict in this way, and having very tiny deadlines how we want to proceed with the particular applications.
Then I would like to share you something of the process that we started recently. So this is one of our draft, how it could look, how one client side could look of a company that needs an annual financial statement. So this would just be an overview. We'd like to have the data together, then we would like to later implement booking in our system, so that we here could, so everyone that goes on this client side would see, okay, Maria has an appointment in 2 weeks, maybe there should be something that has to be prepared, or the client said we have to talk about the salaries or something in a few months, so that we would have an overview directly on our client side. And then we would like to implement a project overview, and as a project we would define our different processes. So for example, here would like stand the annual financial report of the year 2024. We would have different project types. Right here it would be the annual financial report, and we would also directly link to the different tools. So everyone would see that we have the our document storage, because we would furthermore need to get the information of the client. So there will always be additional paper in digital form that we need for our processes. We would have it directly linked to our Excel sheet, and also to Loop, so we could get directly only from this side to our Loop document. We could add information, we could tag people, we could give tasks to other people. And in Planner we would like to create a workflow, so that there would be different phases, like when the information should be gathered and the different documents. When we would see that this first part is finished, we would get here a short notice about information are together. You could start with your process itself, then there would be like mentioned tasks that we have to do in each annual financial statement process, because we have to check the bank account, we have to check a lot of different parts, and this would be all written down, so we could check the box when we finish it or when we have questions itself.
Maybe you can show this, the Power Automate workflow and the planner.
Aber der Flow ist
overview.
noch nicht fertig.
It doesn't matter, it's in draft.
Okay. Then I have to...
So the idea is that nobody is just creating new documents or new loop components, etc. That it's just guided by these links where he should work. Because in the Microsoft world, this is a main problem, to keep the overview about things, where I put something and where I written down my notes, and it could be very, especially when you work mainly through the Teams platform, it could get very quickly a little bit chaos, yes, with all these options what you have. And one more problem is that in a lot of applications, when you create a new document or a component, he's saving it on your personal OneDrive. That's why with the Automate workflow, we want to have the full project with all documents which are needed for this for the execution of the project, so that the employees are not, let's say, leaded to this option to create a new one, so that we have a very clear structure.
Yeah, and here it is not finished yet because we are in the process, but I try to start with a Power Automate flow, but it's all very difficult itself because I don't have the knowledge of these technical issues. So I am sitting there when we have our meetings in a week and ask how I should do it, and then I have trial and error runs itself. But what I want to create is here that when we, in the project overview that I just showed you, when I would create a new project, like I would say I like to make the annual financial statement for the year 2025 for my client, then the flow should create a template itself. So I want to have the folder with the for the documents that I want to store. Then I want that it creates a new Excel sheet from the template that I saved before. I want that it creates the loop document for this process, and I want to have the workflow and planner, so that everything would be just there and ready to be started when I create the new project in the overview. And what I have to consider is that we not only have annual financial statement processes, but we have clients where we have to make this, or where we have to make the income tax for the private stuff itself. So I have to consider which Excel sheets or processes are in the whole thing itself, and think about which elements I need or which should be considered. And it's sometimes very difficult for me to create this, but it's also very fun, and we can see a lot of forthcoming itself, and that is what we are doing right now. And when I started to work in the tax industry, I would not think about creating process flows 2 years after. So it's
very challenging.
Very challenging sometimes, but
this is exactly what we are enabled, yes, as not technical person, to be able to create an automatic workflow, because now our workflows are in Excel sheets. We have the workflows, we just mark the point, and I think that we can structure it very good on this way. And maybe if you can just make the planner, just to check or to show how the tasks are created. Yeah. So this is these are the tasks in the planner. Of course, for different kind of income tax filing is a different template, but on this way you can always see the status of the project and who has done what kind of task. And this is exactly what, because we are interacting between the teams a lot and we are working asynchron. I have 2 kids, I'm working also at the weekend, and I want, when I work, to directly create something for Juliane. She's at 6 in the morning on a working place, and it would be nice if we cannot communicate between this, so that we are able to know exactly on which place I have the problem, or I want to ask her for approval or whatever. And this is exactly the challenge what we have now with just a normal Excel sheet. We have to write emails all the time.
But it's also very challenging to think about creating a new workflow, because we don't want to make too big, but we don't want to miss the very important parts. But sometimes there are a lot of very important parts, and then it's difficult to make it not that complicated for everyone. But because what I wanted to say at the beginning, this would be the part where another employee would like get the information from the client and put it all together, and like maybe this would make a Caro in our company.
A secretary, for example, is not allowed to have like a professional experience to collect particular data.
And then we would like have somebody else, maybe it would be me that would put all the stuff together, would check what is already made in the bookkeeping, and after I finished my task, Maria would start with the next step, and at the end it would go back to the secretary. So there are a lot of different people involved in our processes, but we want to make it visible for everyone where everything stands. And so this is the challenge right now, to think about everything and to create something new that is not so different from everything that we are doing right now.
Yeah. Yes, and why this is so important for you? Because yesterday we had a discussion about what skills are needed for young professionals, and I think you have a very big strength in this direction, that you are actually digital natives. For you, a lot of the stuff is so clear that even the conversation is complicated, because even me at about 40 have difficulties to understand some processes. And for the older generation, it's much more difficult. So we really need in our businesses, not only in the consultants' businesses, but also in small and middle-sized industry businesses, whatever, we need digital thinkers. We need people who understand that you are not starting with using AI. You need first to go through all the steps needed for that, to have a good data, consistent data, to have the right IT infrastructure, to go through automatization, because why AI should be used if I can use an automatic process? I do not need an AI for this. To check the box from a person who is executing the project, the process, and this understanding is very important in your jobs or your future jobs. We need also communicators. Why? Because it is much more important than ever to transform this all a technical understanding for people who are some generations behind you. And that's why I know that a lot of newspapers are writing that, oh, here the bookkeeping job would completely disappear. They are writing that 10 years. No, our jobs are getting different. And I hope we could display this with our project and what Juliane showed you, that our job is not the same like 10 years before. And there are a lot of more, maybe some of the repetitive tasks would disappear, but this is absolutely okay, because we want to use our professional knowledge for something completely different. And that's why these young professional jobs where you could just go do not think and just enter some data into a system, these jobs would disappear. I can absolutely agree with that. But even for us as a small company, we think last year, first time, that we need a Wirtschaftsinformatiker, so economic IT, you know what I mean, as a study, because we need this technical understanding. And also people who have hands-on mentality, like me, not having the, how I can say, to be scared about what is coming, not to be scared to transform or to do change management in the company, and just say, hey, let us just go step by step, and you would see with the time that your work would get better. Because I'm absolutely convinced that our work gets better with the time, not only from the quality perspective, but also from the task we are dealing with. So process managers, you have seen it in the example, and also we have so much refugees in our country, and I see how all the measures what has been taken by authorities to integrate them, this is absolutely okay, but they are not enough. So we companies had to think about how we can integrate international people who do not speak the best German, who have completely different background, how we can integrate them in our work and use their professional experience. And they are, how I can say, a person who left his country and lose everything he has, he can only build step by step his new future. And I'm absolutely sure that they are much more motivated than a lot of us. So this is the challenge, and I would really like that in the tax business we would be able to integrate such kind of people. It starts with why is not our software, why is the software only in German? Why? Where is the IT problematic for the software to be also in English? And you know, even now in Microsoft Teams, a foreigner can just switch to another language and he can completely understand the full conversation with transcript and tasks and everything. So I think this is the future. And the future is, if I not have enough people in Germany to employ for my company, then I have the whole world. And it doesn't matter where they are. If they want to get in touch with the German tax law, they should. They just should. Okay. So before we close, one last Mentimeter question. What is your personal conclusion from all of this, what you have seen now? Did you get a good overview about our business? Are you scared maybe to work in the tax business? Okay, then thank you very much. All the best.